Welcome back, everybody, to Bar Talk, the spirits and beverage podcast from the Relief and Resource Company in Fenton, Michigan. We come to you, as always, courtesy of iLogic Media, our production partners. And if it's a nice little reminder, if you haven't checked out any of iLogic Media's other content, that's a bunch of wonderful stuff up on their social sites and on Spotify, etc. You can check out stock tips and sports stuff and their version of a drunk history show, Whiskey History, I think is what it's called. Give them a look, because it's not all just three clever folks talking about bar stuff. But we are, first of all, I'm John Foley, owner of Relief and Resource, joined as always by Courtney Booms and Mark Miller.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to kind of deviate from what we've done for a few of these episodes, which has been some pretty educational stuff, pretty amazing things where we tackle certain spirits categories, history, or kind of educational subjects. We did women and whiskey last time, which was really, really fun. But we're going to just kind of goof around today and talk about the fictional bars we would most like to drink at.
Yeah.
So I think
be a fun one.
Yeah. Inevitably in this industry, you know, pop culture overlaps what we do a lot. You end up talking about pop culture a lot at the bar, and eventually you just kind of roll around to thinking about what bar in pop culture would be the most fun to imbibe at.
I mean, that's how the idea for this specific episode started. Really, you know, I think you and I were talking about it one night.
Yeah, because it's fun to talk about.
Yeah, if you could jump into that TV show or that movie or that book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we're going to kind of just talk in general about some of the ones that came to mind as we brainstormed the topic. But then we're also going to talk about we're our pick kind of.
Like
Like a more personal.
More personal one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think the first time I ever thought about drinking in a fictional bar or wanting to go to a fictional bar or restaurant was in high school. The short story, A Clean, Well-Lighted Place by Hemingway, is a story that pretty much takes place in a Spanish bistro. And it's a discussion between an older waiter and a younger waiter. And they're pretty much just observing customers, specifically one old guy who's just nailing brandy.
Just chugging it,
Yeah. And he wants his snifter filled up all the way. And as I remember, the younger waiter really wants to get out of work because he wants to go to a union or a communist meeting or something. He
just wants to go home to his wife. He wants the extra hour.
I thought he was an organizer.
They talk about it.
But that's not where he's going.
The specific one is the extra hour to get home to bed.
Okay, yeah, and he's pissed because this guy is basically keeping them there, and it ends with a lovely kind of monologue from the older waiter to the younger waiter about the virtues of a clean, well-lighted place.
Yeah, and just not to dive too deep into it, but it's also an aspect of loneliness, right? Like the combination of this old man who doesn't want to go to bed yet. He just, a lot of us do the whole continue to watch Netflix or scroll through Twitter. It's that same thing. You just don't want to really go back home or get your day finished yet. You really
and that bistro is what he has.
Yes.
And that's what he has to keep him from
the clean
loneliness. Yeah. And I just always wanted to jump into that bistro and then finish a brandy and walk down a beautiful Spanish street. Yeah, so that's kind of what started me thinking about this kind of thing. And then in high school watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
Because I thought the Bronze looked like a really, really cool place to hang out when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Not as cool now.
No, the Bronze it's such a 90s weird YA vibe.
Yes.
Definitely.
But also obviously it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer, so it's very dark and moody, and it's why are teenagers in what's going on?
Brooding teenagers? What do you have going on in your life that you need to start
it looks like the most dangerous all ages bar.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, not even considering that there's demons and vampires.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, and then it eventually burns down, taking with it probably some sub D tier 90s band.
Yeah,
because there was always pretty
tons of sweeping shots over very grungy.
Fuel was playing there at the time.
Yeah. So I thought the Bronze was real hip in high school, but not so much now. I lovingly watch. I still look upon it. Fondly, yeah. The Bronze episodes that pop up.
Yeah,
you always see Angel lurking in the back.
I know.
Yeah, who's the character you seek out first?
At the Bronze?
Yeah.
Oh man, I would probably go talk to Willow because she's just drinking alone.
Yeah.
And
she's so sweet.
You could sit there and hang out with Willow all night. If you talk to somebody else, you're going to get into some bullshit later.
Yeah.
Like get into the souls of the universe.
Right.
Conversation versus
Yeah. So I'd probably talk to Willow first.
just like slam another.
Yeah.
Try to avoid Spike as much as you can.
Probably. It seems
Yeah.
to be obnoxious.
Probably
so-
Xander too, because he'd just bring it back to himself, and I don't know. I don't think I'd
Yes.
talk about it.
He's a narcissist, that guy.
So yeah, and we can throw out a couple other ones so that we could go on forever. I have on my list here the Prancing Pony, where we find that it comes in pints in the Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah.
Which just seems like great, little like fantasy world pub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you and I talked about pre-show, important to the storyline of Fellowship too, because that's where we meet Strider.
Yeah.
Or Aragorn.
Oh yeah, and it's the kind of pub where you can nail one too many and then go to sleep because they have the
They
rooms.
have
It's an
rooms,
inn.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
Available
I
for
forgot
hobbits
about
as well. They
that.
have like half rooms or something.
Yeah.
Yes, they do
That's
have half
right,
rooms.
right.
They go into that more in the
Yeah.
in the book. Yeah.
than in the film. And
Yeah.
then, so you mentioned the Prancing Pony. Its predecessor to in the Hobbit is the Green Dragon,
Yes.
Yeah.
and that's where Gandalf.
And is that in Bree?
Yes,
I think so.
I think I want to say
It's
yes.
not in the Shire. It's in
Correct.
or-
It's not in the Shire.
Bree is Prince. Somebody who's I'm really into Tolkien. I'm messing this up, and somebody's gonna nail me.
Yeah. In the comments,
Bear,
they'll be like,
come at
"It's
me."
idiots."
Yeah.
That's where Gandalf and Thorin meet, though, and discuss the need of the thief, where, of course, Bilbo Baggins
Yeah.
comes in. So very quintessential.
Things
to the
get done in
storyline, too.
bars and Tolkien stories. Yeah.
As they should
You
be.
get
He did
something
seem to base
done.
a lot of things on
Yeah.
Wales and the UK
Yeah.
and their general culture. So.
We also have here the Gold Room
Yes.
from The Shining, which
Yes.
I don't think I would stay in for very long.
No, but it'd be cool to be there for one.
Yeah, it'd be cool to be there for one.
Watch Jack Torrance just go apeshit.
Yeah, and also they serve advocat at the
Yeah.
Gold Room.
Oh,
Which
I
is
didn't know, 'cause
weird.
It gives him a Jack Daniels.
Right, but he
Um,
spills advocat
Lloyd.
on him.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which
now.
is a gross thing to have spilled on you, let alone I've never actually drank
Try and
advocat.
ingest
It sounds weird.
Yeah, so a
Weird.
future podcast episode where Mark and Courtney watch John drink advocat, which is a custard liqueur and sounds really strange.
Thank you
Correction,
for leaving
we
me out
see
of the
how
actual
much.
consumption of it. We just
Well,
get to watch you.
you're lactose intolerant.
That's
right?
true.
Yeah,
I'm
not gonna make
I'm
you drink
thanking
advocat.
you for real. I'm not sarcastic.
Let's have an avocado drinking competition, Foley.
Challenge accepted.
I'll
Is
judge.
that the Gold Room? Is that the bartender where he's like, "What's your pleasure, sir?" Or am I thinking of something else?
No, what's your pleasure, sir, is the guy who sells the Frank the Box at the beginning of Hell.
That's
Hellraiser.
right. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
the junk store owner.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Quick run through some of the other ones. We have the pool hall in Pinocchio, where if you get too effed up, you will eventually turn into a donkey. We have the Titty Twister at Dusk Till Dawn, which you
God.
definitely want to go to for happy hour and not late night service.
Yeah, don't stay.
don't stay.
past.
Yeah, no.
Don't stay. Bob's Country Bunker from the Blues Brothers, where they have both kinds of music, country and western, and you can whip a beer bottle at the band if you don't like their music because the cage will.
Smashes on the cage.
Yeah, which would be great. And then Patty's Pub, of course,
Of course.
where the service might be terrible, but you will probably never get
Drink
cut
with
off.
the gang.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll never
You'll
get cut
never
off.
get cut
But
off.
you could watch an episode, or a performance of Nightman,
Yeah.
You could.
which would
Nightman.
be my
Of course,
Nightman.
from I don't know if we said, but from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's
Patty's Pub.
Patty's Pub.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I didn't mention that.
Yep.
I kind of feel like the show's been on for so long that everybody
Everyone
knows
just
it.
knows it. Yeah.
It's like saying the diner and everybody knowing that you mean Seinfeld.
Right.
Yeah. So why don't we just go like one by one, I suppose,
Yeah.
and like hit on, and we'll kind of alternate and we'll hit
Yeah,
on
go
some
back
of
and
our
forth,
some of our
yeah.
favorites. So Courtney, why don't you hit us off with some of the ones that like really mean something to
Yeah. As a kid, I grew up watching Cheers a whole hell of a lot. It was one of my dad's favorite shows, and that's the quintessential like just chill Boston downtown pub.
Mhm.
It's based on an actual bar called the Bull and Finch. And the whole gang is like a family. It's everyone knows everyone. Norm walks in, everyone goes Norm. You've got Cliff
Mhm.
Clavin, your general know-it-all. I've always loved him the most, for obvious reasons. If you've been watching this show or listening to this podcast, the classic "Will they or won't they?" Sam and Diane.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
The eventual secondary show, Frasier Crane actually started at Cheers. Some people know, some people don't.
Which seemed like an awfully blue collar bar for Frasier to drink at.
Yeah, he seemed a bit highfalutin.
He was
to be
slumming it
drinking
when he
in
went there, yeah.
I wonder what time he's there too. He's just like, or if Lilith was there, just listening to his kind of nagging wife, which
Yes.
was maybe the reason he got out of Boston.
I don't think they serve sherry at Cheers.
No, probably.
I recall, I think in the episodes he drank lager, like most of the people at the bars
Yeah.
drink.
Good
pints
on
of
you,
beer.
Fraser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful show. And why would you want to go where everybody knows your name?
But I did just recently see a few different like stills from Cheers of what was the waitress's name? Carla serving beer.
Moody,
And other people just drinking beer at the bar, and those pours were awful. Like in terms of TV accuracy, it's like 4 fingers of head.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. In these mugs that look like really stumpy looking mugs, and like half of
I
it's
will
foam.
say, I love Cheers. It is terrible as far as like an actual representation of what happens at the bar. The staff are all lackadaisical. None of the drink orders seem to be right. Like besides the camaraderie, there's not a lot of accuracy there. And
I'm not going to remember the name of it, but there was a show on HBO called The Deuce, which dealt with the 42nd Street scene in the 70s and early 80s, and a lot of it's to do with the sex industry. But Maggie Gyllenhaal's in it, James Franco's in it. But the scenes in and around the bars in that show, from a 20-year veteran in the industry, are probably the most accurate bar scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
In terms of like management, inventory, like they film bars really well in that show.
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet. I got to get around to it.
It's good.
Roadhouse has a really good accuracy in a way. If you think of it in the context of what the Roadhouse is, right? But yeah,
that's a terrific crap.
Oh God.
I'm gonna watch Roadhouse tonight. Okay, so she did Cheers. What do you got?
Yeah. So since the dawn of time, there has been a hotly debated topic among nerddom.
Oh God, here we go. Yeah,
and
I have to abstain for this because I'm not.
I said we're looking at each other for this one.
You know it. It's Star Trek versus Star Wars. I'm talking about bars in both realms today. So let's start with Star Trek. Admittedly, I would say I may be more of a Star Trek guy. But there's a bar in Star Trek: The Next Generation on the Enterprise D called 10 Forward. In Section 10, the first section of the saucer section, which has this beautiful view of space through the windows, ran by the lovely Guinan, played by Whoopi Goldberg, who is an Elarian, or basically a race of listeners, and also an empath. So she can basically inherently make you the drink you don't even know that you want. Yeah. I think it's kind of a cool fact. 10 Forward debut.
The perfect bartender.
Yeah. First appearance, in season 2, episode 1 of The Next Generation, called The Child, on November 21st, 1988. Fun fact about the bartender: she was married 23 times and had, quote, a lot of children, as she said.
Whiskey, a lot of children.
But this is because her race can live extra long. So by my math, she was at least 486 years old. But yeah, in 10 Forward, they serve.
So wait a second, she married somebody else from her race who also lives extra long. Did she get divorced 22 times? Or did she marry into another race that just died off?
I think she married into, she just,
She floated around.
Yeah, she floated around.
Sure.
Yeah, she did her thing.
Okay.
But yeah, in 10 Forward, you can get lots of libations, alcohol, synthahol, which is like alcohol, but with none of the effects.
I'm trying to think of the first line when he gets his first shot of something, something like, "Oh, it's disgusting. I'll have another."
Yeah. Invented by the Ferengi, synthahol was.
Yeah.
But was actually detested by.
That's pretty much a Malort commercial.
Right. Yeah.
The Malort commercial was great.
Synthahol, though, was not very popular with two main characters, Robert Picard, Jean-Luc Picard's brother, and Montgomery Scott, who you might know from the original series, Scotty. Yeah. He hated it, and he wanted the real stuff. So Guinan always kept a bottle of Aldebarian whiskey behind her bar that was gifted to her. That was the real hooch.
Nice.
And yeah, 10 Forward used for basically any recreational events, birthdays, weddings, funerals on the Enterprise D.
All right.
Yeah.
It's an all-purpose pub.
Yeah, basically.
Floating pub.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm going to come around to my. Oh, wait a second. This is also that bar also inspired what you're drinking. Right now,
yes, I should say I'm drinking Chateau Miaudou, which is a Bordeaux. Correct? Yeah. And actually, the Picard family has Chateau Picard in Bordeaux in the fictional universe of Star Trek.
All right.
So there it is.
So one of my runners-up for me is definitely the Ink and Paint Club. I think going to a show bar that features dueling pianos and all variety of acts, where you can interact with humans and cartoons, sounds like an absolute blast.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Exactly. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the Ink and Paint Club. So the waiters are penguins. Betty Boop is a cigarette and cigar girl. You've got some ripping good entertainment. the Ducks on dueling pianos,
Yeah,
Jessica Rabbit. That bar looks like a ripping good time.
Oh,
Absolutely.
So fun.
Yeah.
At
Beautiful
all
setting.
times, I would totally drink at the Ink and Paint Club.
Yeah.
Cool name, suave spot, just a little grimy. You got a gorilla who's a doorman who'll throw you out in the alley if you misbehave. But you have to be very, very particular about your orders.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
Favorite line.
yeah, because if you order something, they will, the cartoons will take it literally and make a joke out of it. So whiskey needs probably the play unless you want actual rocks in your glass.
Yeah, that's a
yeah,
fun
I'll
one.
take
I
a
would-
scotch and rocks.
Yeah, I would drink at the
Nice.
Ink and Paint Club, like depending on the entertainment, probably every weekend.
Booms, what you got next?
I got next to the Snake Hole Lounge. So fans of Park and Rec,
Parks and
Parks
Rec,
and Rec, excuse me. It is from the episode Telethon, where Tom Haverford and John Ralphio kind of concoct this enterprising liqueur called Snake Juice,
Snake Juice.
which is
Fictional
and I quote,
beverage on number one on my list. That I would drink.
Yeah.
And I go, every kind of liquor, coffee, liqueur, sugar, and ingredients.
Mhm.
So
And
the entire,
ingredients.
the entire staff go down to the Snake Hole Lounge to help Tom Haverford promote his new liqueur, and they all get wicked toasty.
Pissed, yeah.
That's also, I think, the first episode where Burt Macklin and Janet Snakehole appear. So
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
alter egos
yeah.
of
Because
April and
they're
Andy
hammered,
that
yeah.
are
Yes,
freaking
I
hilarious.
forgot about
Burt
that.
Macklin, yeah.
It's also there's a point where Ron Swanson comes to support. He's drinking scotch. Tom convinces him to have a sip. He has a sip, decides he likes it, and he
Gets so drunk he
gets
dances,
so
yeah.
drunk he starts dancing. But he starts like ordering people to drink it. Like, so
Yeah.
this is not just a recommendation; it's a guarantee.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that I really like about that episode.
It's one of the only episodes where he deviates from scotch.
That's true.
Yeah.
The rest of the show, he's
Yeah.
drinking straight up scotch.
Yeah, and who's the designated driver?
Donna Meagle.
Yeah.
She's on a juicing cleanse with Chris. And,
Yep.
she
Yep.
just,
She
if
drives
anyone
everybody
throws up
home.
in my Buick, you're out. Like,
Yep.
or I don't know.
Donna is like one of those underrated characters.
She absolutely
Donna
is.
is who I
TV.
probably drink with first.
Yeah.
Out of anyone on Parks and Rec.
I would watch a Donna Jerry spinoff.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like just a Donna
absolutely.
Jerry spinoff. Yeah. About their book club or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Mark, you got another one? We can
Yeah,
at least
so-
do a couple more.
So we did Star Trek. Let's do Star Wars. The
Mhm.
one everyone knows from Star Wars, the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So first appeared in Star Wars, the movie, the film,
New Hope.
A New Hope. Well, it wasn't called A New Hope when it was first released. It was just Star Wars.
I know.
But on May 25th, 1977 was when we first saw it, located on the desert planet of Tatooine,
Mhm.
where, of course, we find Luke Skywalker.
It's kind of a port bar.
It is, yeah. Quoted by Obi-Wan, a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Nice.
Because you always go there, and there's a lot of black market deals that go down it.
Yeah, has entertainment, is disreputable, lots of shady characters, lots of activity.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
Talking about entertainment, the Cantina Band, actually, I did not know this. They have a name. It's Figrin Don and the Modal Nodes.
The modal
The
nodes.
modal nodes.
What does modal nodes mean?
Like
Nodes?
modality
Yeah.
and nodes are like musical terms.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of cool. All of them were played by actually Industrial Light and Magic workers.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which I thought was a fun little fact.
And somebody can get shot in this bar, and like business just keeps right on. Rolling.
Yeah.
Like we'll clean
Same
up,
old, same
we'll
old.
clean up Greedo's body later.
Right. Yeah.
Don't worry about
and
that.
I actually had, it's that whole who shot first thing with
Yeah.
Han
Yeah.
Solo or Greedo. I think now it's kind of been determined that Han Solo did shoot first because he is a badass. And wasn't
Yeah, I
taking
think
any
Lucas kind of
Greedo.
walked
Yeah.
that one back. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. The filming location for that, interestingly, was in Tunisia. Which I thought was
Nice,
pretty
yeah.
cool. And it was the first appearance of a lightsaber ever on screen when Obi-Wan cut off Ponda Baba's hand. And also it inspired the real life bar Scum and Villainy Cantina in Los Angeles, California, which is really cool. It's actually where Kevin Smith films his podcast, Fat Man Beyond.
Oh, nice.
And it's like this one-to-one remake of the Mos Eisley Cantina in Los
Really?
Angeles.
I never saw that.
Yeah, it's
All
pretty cool. But yeah, Mos Eisley Cantina, man.
Okay.
It's just like a rowdy bar you could go to. You never know what's going to happen. Slightly dangerous, which I think is,
Part of its charm.
right,
Yeah.
kind of its charm. Yeah, absolutely.
So I got another runner up before I get to my big one. But the Crow and Crown, I guess, was one that I would totally drink at. So the Crow and Crown is from a British film called Withnail and I. And it's essentially about two struggling actors who drink way too much and then try to go out to the country for inspiration and just muck the whole thing up. And I guess it just seems to me like I've always wanted. I have an affection for UK pubs, even though I've never been to one. Someday I will get over there to go, but it just seems like one of those like pubs around the corner where you can totally just pop in at any time. I think they order tall gins, which I think is just such an obnoxious thing to order. Is a tall gin.
What even is that? Just a tall
It's
glass full of
a
gin?
tall gin is a way forward to truly bad decision making later on.
absolutely. Yeah.
And I think they're nailing them at like 10 in the morning. So like I don't think I would want to be a regular at the Crow and Crown because I think it would be a really
Right.
depressing way to go through life. But I would dip into the Crow and Crown every now and then just to get rambunctious.
You have to be like a depressed, struggling actor in order to go to the Crow and Crown. At least,
But
it
I
seems
wouldn't.
like
I just
they'll
want to
like
watch
constant
them.
chain
I want to watch.
smoking.
Yeah. I mean, it's a dingy '80s looking bar, but I guess because I love that movie so much
People watching would be ideal.
that I would definitely drink at the Crow and Crown. If you've never seen Whitnell and I, it's a hilarious movie about two truly desperate souls pounding it away. What do you guys? I think we should save this one right here for like the end.
Oh yeah.
Since that
Okay.
one kind of popped up for all of us.
Yeah, that's a good like combo
Yeah,
conversation.
okay.
Then I guess I'll do my big one, which is Rick's
Famous
Cafe
one.
Americano.
Rick's Cafe Americano.
Of Casablanca fame in 1943. Casablanca is in Morocco, Africa. At the time, it was controlled by Vichy France, but there was also like a port where basically you had a lot of people moving in and out, Germans, Hungarians, whoever. And your kind of quintessential character there, Rick Blaine, he owns it. He's super cool. He doesn't drink with anybody, but he's also got connections with everybody.
Very suave.
Yeah, super suave, and it's basically a love story that's doomed from the start, wrapped
It
in
is.
drink and World War I history. So it's exactly what I
You can find your
Where I
moral
wanna be.
compass at
Yeah.
Rick's Cafe Americano.
Yeah. So you've got Rick, you've got Ilsa, you've got Victor Laszlo, Sam, Captain Renaud.
Yeah, this beautiful glitzy place where all this stuff is happening in the background of this shiny, beautiful veneer.
It's several stories melded into one, and they all correspond to Rick's Cafe,
Mhm.
which is really cool.
And most of the movie takes place in the barn.
Yes, you've got ideal lines like "Here's looking at you, kid." Play it again, Sam's conversional. What am I trying to say? Argumentative, because it's either "Play it again, Sam" or "Play it, Sam."
Yeah.
Which the actual line is "Play it, Sam," but
Play it,
everyone
Sam.
says "Play
Yep.
it again." Then you've got of all the gin joints in all the world, she had to come into mind.
Mhm. That's a great old school name for a bar, is a gin joint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Humphrey Bogart also just would drink with him anywhere he's at.
Absolutely. All right, you got one more?
Yeah, so this is you and I are gonna kind of tackle this one together. The Bada Bing
The Bada Bing.
from
Bada
The
Bing.
Sopranos.
Yeah. In New Jersey.
In New Jersey.
In Newark, yeah.
Lodi, New Jersey.
Oh, it's
right?
Lodi, New Jersey.
Lodi,
Okay.
New Jersey, yeah.
Suburb of Newark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of probably, I would say, one of the main, if not the main, settings in The Sopranos. You know, as far as characters coming together.
The pork store and that one.
Yeah,
probably
the
are
pork
two
store
big
too.
ones,
Yeah, but was
The pork store.
Gabagool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Gabagool, yeah. First appeared in the very first episode, season 1, episode 1, the
Yep.
pilot on January 10th, 1999. Is named after James Caan's character's Sonny Corleone catchphrase in The Godfather. as well.
Yeah. You don't shoot them far away like in the army. You walk up and blow their head. Yeah, bada bing, you blow their
Bada bing,
brains
yeah,
all over.
yeah,
Your nice
yeah.
Ivy League suit. Yeah, exactly. James Caan, Michigan State grad.
Yeah, there it is. So the Bada Bing, it is a strip club, we should say. So,
Yes.
Yeah, there's lots of
Definitely
that
definitely
going
a strip club.
on.
It's definitely a strip club, and and pretty depressingly portrayed.
Oh
Actually,
yeah. It's like, yeah, when you're
It's
in the
big
main
grind.
area, it does give a very kind of depressing
Yeah.
vibe, honestly.
yeah. And the allure is definitely like you want to drop in and like know that you're drinking in a mob bar, but you
Right,
definitely don't want to
right.
linger.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was ran by Tony's consigliere, Silvio Dante, or Sil, as he's called,
Yeah.
who is the guitarist for
Bruce
Bruce
Springsteen.
Springsteen. Yeah, in real life. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, Little Steven's Underground Garage too. He's the DJ.
Yeah, yeah.
That curates that show.
Yep. And then
Steve Van Zandt.
Steve Van Zandt. Yeah. The only other fact I have written down is that it's inspired a real life coffee shop chain in New Jersey called the Bada Bing.
Bada Bing.
Much more
It's not bad,
wholesome.
yeah.
Yeah, the Bada Bing is a dangerous spot. Like you're gonna
Yeah.
celebrate there. You're gonna like whenever anybody gets out of jail or prison. I mean, that's
Yeah.
where they're
First place.
that's where they're rolling
Yeah.
in. But like one of the strippers dies there.
Yeah. And I think in the very
Pretty-
first episode,
scary place.
don't they find out that maybe it's the first 2 or 3 episodes. That's where they find out that their boss died. Spoilers.
Jackie Aprile.
Oh, this
Jackie
whole,
Aprile.
Big
yes.
Jackie, yeah.
this whole show is spoiler alert.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, but I mean, if you haven't gotten around to Sopranos
Yeah,
now, like
yeah.
it's the first episode. That's not really that much of a
Yeah.
spoiler. It's a character you don't even see.
And it's unfortunately where they kind of mold the idea of killing, what was his name? Big Pussy?
Big Pussy.
Yeah. If because he was working with the feds and he was wearing a wire.
Yeah, Little Pussy Malenga gets killed early on.
That's true.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it sucks too because Big Pussy was such a good character.
He
He was
was.
one of my favorites.
He was.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bada Bing.
So my main one that I'm going to get to before we kind of come to a consensus one that I'm sure you guys can see coming, but if I had to pick one, it would probably be the Gem Saloon, which was actually a real life bar, but I would drink in the fictional Gem Saloon from Deadwood.
Yes.
Because
yes.
ideally I would at some point want to drink with the fictional version of Al Swearingen, played by Ian McShane.
Yes.
It is absolutely the central location in the show. And the show is essentially about, I always seen that show as a metaphor for the coming together of America
Oh, absolutely.
from raw materials. And it makes sense that so many of the things that focus on the formation of that community in Deadwood happen at that bar.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a de facto political hall.
Mhm.
It's where debts are settled. It's where grievances are settled.
Yep.
Whole lot of Lady of the Night action upstairs.
yeah.
Lots of gambling.
Yeah.
Yep.
A piano, and I think from what I can tell, the only beverages consumed are whiskey and beer, which sets up just fine for me.
Yeah.
So
I don't even recall seeing beer, but maybe there was. I'm sure
Dan
there was.
Doherty draws
got a-
beer
he
off
pulls?
of a
Okay.
hand pull.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he drinks out of a giant mug.
nice.
Yeah. So just the general ambiance and the fact that Al Swearingen is my favorite television character of all
Yeah.
time, it makes it a really easy decision to drink at the Gem Saloon.
Yep. Although there's a bit of competition for the gem in season 2?
Cy Tolliver's joint.
Yes.
Yeah, the Bella Union. I'm not drinking to the Bella
No,
Union.
it's very hoity-toity, uptight. You want to
Yeah.
go to the gem.
And Cy Tolliver's an asshole.
He really is.
I mean,
yeah.
Al's an asshole, but Cy's
but he's a well orchestrated ass.
100%.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
like he's
yep.
much more my speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, so,
Yeah.
to me, this character's like bad on the outside, good on the inside.
Well,
Poorly
he
made
has at
choices
least a
for
moral
well
compass.
intentions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's complicated, but yeah.
Yeah, Deadwood and Sopranos were kind of that first wave of HBO, like,
Great
Well,
scenes
and-
coming out of HBO.
yeah.
And The Wire. And,
The Wire.
And The
small
Wire.
mention to I think it's just known as Dolores's bar, but the bar in season 2 of The Wire with the stevedores drink. I would totally drink. I think you can get like eggs and whiskey at like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's a longshoreman's bar.
What a
I forgot
combination.
about The Wire. That's great.
Eggs
Yeah.
and whiskey.
Yeah. Okay, and then our last one, which I think is just a pretty obvious choice.
It's from the Cornetto trilogy. and
Yeah.
it is
Yes.
the Winchester, because
Yes.
as they say in the film, we'll just have a nice cold pint and wait for this all to go over.
No
Yeah.
matter what you've got going on in your life, the Winchester is the perfect place to go for
Yeah.
any occasion.
Yeah.
Survive the zombie apocalypse? Check.
Anniversary,
Check.
Yeah.
yep.
Date night?
Salty snacks with your best friend,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
and it's within walking distance of their residence. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
The exact quotes I want to say is take the car, go to Mom's, kill Phil, grab Liz, go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for this all to blow over.
absolutely.
How's that for a slice of fried gold? The trilogy
Yep.
in general has such good
If
one
you,
Yep.
yeah, if you have not seen those films, please do yourself a
Mhm.
favor
Yeah.
and go watch them because they are
And
so
each
good.
one has like ideal pubs. So like Hot Fuzz has the Crown.
Yep.
It's
The
a
Crown,
great
yeah.
drink.
And the World's End has 12 of them.
Well, the World's End
Yeah.
has the First Post, the Old Familiar, the Famous Cock, the Crossed Hands, the Good Companions, the Trusty Servant, the Two-Headed Dog, the Mermaid, where they meet the marmalade sandwich,
Yes.
the Beehive, the King's Head, the Hole in the Wall, and the World's End.
Nice.
The Old Familiar, I think, is the one I would go to.
The Old Familiar.
It
yeah.
just sounds like such
What
a.
was one?
The first two were both like carbon
famous
copy.
cock.
The famous cock. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where
I
they
love
meet
that.
The famous cock that always stands like this.
female, the love interest. Yeah.
So I want to end with a quick one before we leave, and this is something that I think we kind of talked about before the show.
Yeah.
If you could pick one fictional character to drink with, who would it be?
Yeah, this took me a while to choose, but I decided with Hercule Poirot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a huge Agatha Christie fan. I thought about a couple other famous detectives, but I thought Poirot would be really well versed in just kind of asking him how he went about his process. He drinks a little snifter of brandy, which would be very cute. And
He's a Belgian, yeah.
he's Belgian,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's my choice.
It'd be a sophisticated night out.
And that's probably what I'd go for more often than not if I
Yeah.
was to drink with someone more famous than I.
Yeah. I mean, you already know where I'm
Is it
going.
Picard?
I mean, he's up there, but you have a couple pints with Admiral Akbar, and you start getting him going. It's a trap. It's a trap.
The running joke is that you can apply Admiral Akbar's one famous line to literally anything.
Yeah, basically.
You know, Admiral Akbar's sandwich shop. It's a wrap.
Yeah.
Admiral Akbar's sexually transmitted disease. It's a clap.
It's a clap.
Yeah.
His
Admiral,
coffee shop. It's a frap.
It's a frap. Yeah. Admiral Akbar's preferred alternative to a handshake. It's a dap.
Yeah.
You know, so like,
Yeah.
I think that he'd be a lot of fun. Plus, you probably learn some military strategy
Oh, absolutely.
while you're there.
he's a great
He is
guy.
an admiral.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real. Yeah. So yeah, he would be the main one, or I would also like John Luke Picard as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So my runner-up was going to be Dr. Watson because I don't think I would want to drink with Holmes because I don't think he'd be that much fun.
Right.
Drinking with Watson would be fun because he's an ex-soldier. It seems like he's not averse to a good time. Plus, you'd learn about Holmes, and Sherlock Holmes is my favorite fictional character. But what I was going for, I guess, if I'm picking a person to drink with, is not necessarily who I'd have the most fun drinking with. I'm looking at conversation.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I think Fox Mulder from the X-Files would probably be my favorite because
Yes.
after a couple drinks, the conspiracy theory stuff would just be through the roof. And I would just kind of tune him up and let him go. And I think after 3 hours, your head would be swimming, even if you only had one drink.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it
Yeah.
would just be
Yeah.
so nuts what he
Yeah.
had to
Informational
share.
overload.
So, yeah, Fox Mulder for sure.
If we do runners up, I would say Nick and Nora from the Thin Man.
Oh, you
series.
do drink with the
I
suave folk.
do drink with
Yeah.
suave folk. Yeah, they were infamous
really-
cocktail drinkers, but
Yeah, they
also
were.
weird and rowdy detectives.
Booms, I really thought you were going to go Giles from Buffy.
I
But
would have gone Giles from Buffy as well.
That'd just be such a
Sweet sophomore
gentle little
feather.
night. Yeah.
Tell me about your ancient demons, Giles.
Yes, and he'd probably bring along old books that you could look at.
It
too.
would,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%.
All right. Well, this has been fun, and I'm sure we'll find other ways to reference pop culture and drinking at some point.
Without a doubt.
It'll definitely happen. But we thank you for tuning in, and check out some of the other stuff on iLogic Media. And for Mark and Courtney, I'm John. Cheers.
cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Hell yeah, brother, run it.
I will run it. All right.